Well, you know, if the president is not going to do it, to the senator who says, you know what, gosh darn it, I will. Republican Ron Johnson of Wisconsin joining us. Senator, what's your plan?
Well, Neil, tell you what, Neil, let's face it, a year ago, the Simpson-Bowles Commission did issue their report, and it really fell on deaf ears. I mean, this president said he was going to work for the next year, making the tough choices, but he hasn't. I agree with your earlier guest there. You know, he has treated this commission like a Washington gimmick, just like he said he wasn't going to do. So what I'm saying is, okay, there's some controversial parts of this bill, but let's face it, we had 11 of those commissioners, 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans vote for it. So why don't we take the things that they agreed on? Why don't we take the discretionary spending cuts that we could enact immediately? Let's put those into law. So I introduced a piece of legislation today that would do just that. That would save $655 billion over the next 10 years. It's not nearly enough, but it's a good first start. So let's do that. I agree with the president. We can't wait. Let's pass this thing now.
You know, Senator, that makes way too much sense. So you're not coming back on this show.
Sorry about that.
No, in all seriousness, you know, you've always tried to bridge the gap between the parties. I mean, the extremes on both sides. And that doesn't seem like too nutty an idea to me. I mean, let's agree on the stuff we agree on. We could get bigger cuts than we've already discussed, and we could be well along in this process. But is it such in the political environment now that everything's kind of etched in stone? We're going to wait another year till the election just sort of sorts this out?
Well, I'm not willing to wait. That's why I'm putting forward this thing. You know, when the super committee formed, I sent a recommendation for $1.4 trillion worth of cuts. That was largely ignored. But, you know, let's be honest, Neil. The problem we have is this president has not led. He's really been phoning it in on this issue for as long as I've been here. And now I'm afraid that he's in the election mode. You know, he wants to run against a do-nothing Congress. And so he's going to make sure that this Congress does nothing. That's a real tragedy. And as we're seeing Europe unravel, you know, as we're seeing these interest rates spike in Europe, you know, we're just a short period of time behind what's happening in Europe.
But you know, Senator,
we don't have time to wait.
But I have so many crackpot theories. This is just the latest. I think Europe is another reason why they're not acting faster, because they figure, you know what? Europe is our cover. Europe is so bad, by comparison, we look almost fiscally adroit. And you know, you and I can quibble with that, certainly. But their idea is, look, by comparison, we're doing okay because they're so pathetic. Do you think they're whistling past the graveyard?
Oh, you know, I think that's an extremely dangerous game to be playing here, Neil. I mean, our economies, this is a global economy. Our economies are connected. We certainly have banks that have, you know, loaned money to European banks. And when this thing starts unraveling, there will be a contagion, and it is going to affect our economy as well. This is not something we should be playing around with. And let's face it, when Greece hit their debt crisis, the European Union could backstop them for a short period of time. That's unraveling. If we hit a debt crisis, if global investors take a look at the U.S. and say, you know, we're not going to loan you money at the old rates, we're going to start increasing the interest rates, we could wipe out all discretionary spending. That's something we just can't put up with. Nobody can backstop the United States.
Real quickly, Senator, we're hearing moves here by both parties at varying degrees to get around these sequestration automatic cuts that supposedly kick in. Some Democrats balking about the Medicare cut portion of that. Some Republicans like John McCain concerned about the defense cut portion of that. Whatever their qualms, do you think that there is a chance that this backup plan itself blows up?
Well, that's one of the reasons I introduced this piece of legislation, why I sent that letter recommending $1.4 trillion worth of cuts. Neil, there's no shortage of ideas on how to reduce the rate of growth in government. What we're short of is political will. And, you know, unfortunately, we may have to have another election to sort that out. We need more fiscal conservatives here, people that actually acknowledge the problem, coming here to work with anybody who's willing to actually solve this problem. That's why I came here. We just need more allies.
All right.
Send us more allies.
All right, Senator, always good seeing you. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me on.